So I just want to make a quick video about the government and the different types of government. I always, there's a lot of governments all around the world and I have absolutely no clue what they're doing. Really, I have no clue. I know a little bit about England because I live here and I want to live in America, so because of that I kind of focus on these two. Hence I feel like I know a lot, not a lot, but something about these two. And I feel like these two are kind of like two completely different comparisons of how a government can be run, but I feel like the rest of the world is kind of like a mixed match. Some is more like England, some is more done like America. I don't know about the impoverished countries. No clue at all. But I just want to make the difference between a president and a prime minister. I always thought that having a prime minister was better, because, or prime minister as in that's male or female term, right? And yeah, I always thought that was better because it meant that someone can't just come in who had no clue what they're doing and just mess everything about. In a way, I feel like Trump is kind of doing that. Like he's just gone in there and just signed a bunch of executive orders, stopping climate change that's going to help the climate. I don't really know what he's doing. To be honest, feel like it's all for show, so I don't necessarily believe what he's doing is actually something that he's doing, but rather it's more just a show for the audience. But if someone was to go in there and literally have no clue about what the government is or whatever, maybe they've just done a TV show or something. I don't know. It's possible that they can do that. Now, I think that is kind of dangerous because that can lead to a dictatorship and stuff like this. So because of that, I prefer how the government is done. The English government did it, which is to have a group of people that are all elected through the council or something, and then you kind of rise up, you all work together. Okay, I don't like how they have like the sort of football type thing. You have the Labour Party versus the Conservatives. I think having this kind of divide kind of separates you and thinking, if there's some things that you're not really sure on, you might be tempted just to side with your party just because it's your party, you're the ones that are consoling with them, whereas it's like the Bible, just saying, if you have one party that thinks that the Bible is 100% truth, another party that thinks that the Bible is 100% false, if you were to get people in your group and argue amongst them, there might be some things in this party that think it's false, and there might be some parties in this party that think that there's true, even though the whole of it, they think most of it is not true. But by getting the groups, it means that they'll only consolidate with people who have a certain point. Hence, they are going to start developing more conservative or more sort of Labour Party views. And I don't think that's how it should be. I think it should just be one party. Some people believe that it's not true, some people believe that it is true, but then you'll have all the mixture of people who say, I'm not going to take sides, because I'm not going to say that I'm going to take this view on something just because I'm a conservative, or I'm going to take this view on something just because I'm a Labour. So if you're undecided on decisions and you are in a Labour Party or a Conservative Party, you'd probably speak to the people in your party and you'd probably develop a more one-sided view. And I don't think that's how the government should work. I think there should just be one government where people are elected, and you can say if you have more of a futuristic view or a conservative or a past view, traditionalist view, or a progressives view, which is where I felt this way a few years ago, but now that the world has changed, I'm standing on this, and the futuristic view is always like, this is the kind of world that we want to create. So that's how I would see it. I wouldn't see it as conservative and Labour. I would just see it as futuristic views, which is how the world you're trying to create in the future, and you're focused on that. And then you've got the sort of progressive one, which is like each year you might have a slightly different view based on the world around you. And then you've got the sort of traditionalist view, which is like, this is how they did it in the past, and I understand that. Now, if you had all these different groups, then people that are undecided on certain things will probably tend to they'll probably listen to the people of their group and tend to side with their group. And I don't think this is right. I think you should just have one big group that, okay, the individuals might have certain principles and they might say, I stand more on these tendencies, but the group in a whole should all be just run by, not like a football pitch, but rather by just a big group of people that are all trying to score in the same goal or something like that. Trying to work together, teamwork. But yeah, the difference between prime minister and president is that presidents can just come in, which is actually quite a good thing, because if there's a lot of corruption in the government and someone comes in and they won't be held accountable for all the corruption that was happened in the years that they weren't running, because they weren't running, so they couldn't do anything about it. So if you do the prime minister way, the presidential way, They come in and then they can say, all right, this is all wrong, and then they can change it all. So on one hand, it's kind of good because they have that power, but on the other hand, if they are a corrupt person who hasn't got a clue what they're doing, and if they're just changing lots of orders that are actually very beneficial, but because they're only just listening to their own brain, if you have a group of people that are around you that are just yes, 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 and if they start saying no, I don't agree with that, and you just go and fire them, that's what can happen. That's the problems of the presidential person, because you have so much power that you can choose who your group is. You have the full power of who is in your group and who's not in your group, and then you just have to kind of work with the people that were working in the government on a sort of long-term basis, and you kind of like rule over that. But yeah, it is good, but it's also bad because if a corrupt person comes in and starts messing everything up, it can cause quite a lot of damage. But on the other hand, if the governments are actually the ones that are causing corruption, I'm looking to see what Elon Musk is saying about where tax money is going. And I saw a video where someone said that $1.5 million was spent on a school, and then they showed a clip of like this sand school, or just like a sand mud house, basically. It wasn't a school. It looked like it would have cost a few £100s to make. Like, that's how bad it was. I don't know if it's the truth. I mean, to be honest, it sounds like it's not the truth. It sounds like it's a lie. It sounds like someone who's just been spreading lies to try and get people to hate the government because maybe they hate the government, and they're trying to make up lies that aren't true in hopes of getting people to hate the government so that people don't trust the government and so that they trust some other group. That's what it sounds like to me. But if that's the truth, I don't know. I don't know if millions of pounds are being spent on sex changes in Guatemala. To me, that sounds ridiculous. It sounds absolutely ridiculous. But is it the truth? Is there some truth to that, or is this just are these all just fabricated lies that people are believing, or is there actually truth to it? And I don't know. But I would like to hope that the people that are organising this do. And the good thing about a president is someone could come in, look at the facts, and actually make the changes if it is true. Whereas in sort of the prime minister kind of view, you could only become a prime minister if your group has raised you up. So you have to be working in the group. You have to prove that you're able to work and agree with others and work well with others, and then the party starts rising you up. But yeah, if there is a lot of corruption in the government, if they are doing lots of things wrong, they're not going to be electing people that are going to expose them. They're going to be electing people that side with them. So it depends on where the corruption is. If most of the corruption is in the government, then you kind of prefer a president because they just come in and change everything. But if there's more danger in someone who has no clue what they're doing, getting in and just fucking things up, then I guess the prime minister one. I mean, to be honest, I actually think of a middle ground between these two. So I want to see the bigger picture so I can kind of compare England and America, and I would say that there should be a party that comes in, but it shouldn't be one person. It should be a group of maybe 6, maybe 26 people that are all being elected. All they give their profile. They say, this is what I'm about. This is what I'm for. When you vote for a person, you're not just voting for one person. You can have one person as like the head of that group, but I feel like you should actually know who the group is. I feel like with Elon Musk, there was someone who was supposed to be the Iraqi guy, I don't know what his name is, some guy he was supposed to be working with, and yeah, as soon as they kind of got elected, he's now disappeared. So I'm just like, who the hell's that? This shouldn't really happen. If this was a proper organised government, they would have a group of people. They would say, this is the people that are in the group. We cannot fire each other. If we don't agree on terms, then we just have to negotiate amongst each other. But yeah, when you have the sort of the government being 550 people like in England, I feel like this a huge amount of time is just kids shouting at each other in a playground, because that's all it. When I watch the government things of England, it just looks like 500 or 400 people in a room, most of them just nodding and doing absolutely nothing whilst getting £300 an hour, which just seems like a complete waste of time. And the other times it's just, do I agree with this? Do it? And then, and then lots of smarky remarks and just, it's just bitching. That's all it is. It's turned into a bitch fight, and I think the government shouldn't be like that. You should have the elect group who do sort of make the big decisions, and then that are all voted for by the public, and you have to do a lot of promotion about who these people are, and then you can have just like the side people who are voted by the different councils or the different areas that exist, and this is how the sort of the stable governments. You have the stable government that are all elected through sort of regional elections, where the people actually come forth and say, you know, this is my principle, this is what I stand for, this is what I believe in. I'm not with any party. You can say if you have a more traditionalist view, or a progressive view, or a futuristic view, or an open-minded view, which is just wanting to listen to the people and be completely, I guess that's the more the sort of democratic way of thinking. Listen to what other people want and then side versus that, rather than side with a particular party. You know, you can't really call it Democrats if the Democrats is a party that refuses to listen to the Conservatives, because technically if you are blocking out the Conservative Party, then you're not really democratic, because part of being democratic is listening to all sorts of views. And my pasta's burning, so I've got to stop this.